I thought it would be Jeff Cobb because we have to really further that Samoan storyline with the bloodline and other people. And you bring in Jeff Cobb, I have to say it. I've been around them most of my life and career. Can you name one bad Samoan wrestler or anybody of Polynesian descent? They're all awesome.
Ooh, was it Manu?
Yeah, but
he was in for like 2008 for a second.
Manu was part of Legacy with Orton, DiBiase, and Cody Rhodes. But dude, I don't know what happened to him in WWE, but he was still good. It just didn't translate. It's kind of like Tama Tonga. The twins, Haku's kids, they're really good in Japan, but for some reason it doesn't feel like their style's fitting in too much in WWE, but they're still really good workers. I've never been around a bad one. So Jeff Cobb was my guess just because we just needed great workers. And when you framed it last time saying he's almost 40 years old, he gets to make that money, I was really happy and hopeful it would be Jeff Cobb. But Joe Hendry deserves that spot too, to be in that. Not this exact one we're going to talk about, but he deserves to make some money.
It was Rusev as well, and we were wondering who it was going to be. I don't know if it was me and you or Dutch and I.
Oh, I didn't guess right.
For some reason, I completely even think about Rusev. He would have been perfect as well, but no. There you go.
No, I didn't even think of Rusev, but did he re-sign with the company?
Yes. Apparently Lana, or CJ Perry, has been spotted here and around, and she's been signed to a Legends deal. But I don't know if she's been re-signed to the company, but Rusev, we think, has. But no Jeff Cobb, no Rusev. It is Joe Hendry. Someone said his name and he appeared.
What do you think? I'm going to let you go first.
No, you go first.
Well, it's a shame. This is kind of like the Ray Phoenix thing. You have a guy that's featured, especially a TNA world champion. Obviously, there's a working relationship with WWE. The thought of the company, both companies, I should say, maybe even Joe Hendry, I get to be a part of WrestleMania. It's great exposure. No matter what happens, it's great exposure. I will say this about the match. And looking at Joe Hendry in the ring with Randy Orton, obviously Randy, 20 WrestleManias. His 20th WrestleMania, he's comfortable. He's found his character. He's found himself. And it literally has fun out there. No matter what. Even if it's a blood thing, there's little parts where Randy, the inner child comes out, the inner wrestling fan, and you can tell. That smoothness, that comfort, the poise, the presence, that's the only thing that overshadowed Joe Hendry. In the ring physically, looking at both of them, Joe Hendry reminds me of a Drew McIntyre type gimmick or a guy. Starting out, he's got the thing, but there needs to be a gear change and some kind of more of an edge to Joe Hendry because they cheer for him and all that stuff. It's fun, but you're the world champion now. So hopefully after this loss, like I said, he can have more of an edge, a different character, something featured differently on NXT or WWE. But yeah, I mean, what you said is absolutely true, and I'll pass it to you. He just got his ass whooped by Randy Orton in a very short WrestleMania match. What does that do for him, TNA, and everybody else?
It's not even that. I don't know if it's just his presentation. I mean, it works in TNA, it works in NXT, but he's got the potential to work on WWE's main roster in a meaningful role if he tweaks a couple of things. And I think there needs to be some tweaking. I know it's the most overused thing. I think he needs to hit the gym a little bit more, just needs to be a bit wider, that kind of thing, because when you're talking body types, I mean, Randy Orton's huge, we know that. And since he came back from injury, he's massive. And say what you want about how he got there, he's huge. And he looks like a superstar. With Joe next to him, he looked like a TNA wrestler in WWE, which I know is what he is. But, I mean, I sort of think a costume change for Joe, just being a bit bigger for Joe, and also not leaning into the goofiness too much, because obviously the intro's great, the song's hilarious and everything. People really gravitate towards it. But I sort of feel he was doing it too much in that short match, where he just came across as the goofy guy from the other company and not WWE caliber. And it's just the small changes that would work out for him, I think.
It actually felt like, to me, the U.S. title open challenge on Raw or SmackDown, and the NXT wrestler comes out and shows they can hang with the superstar, but they don't follow through. This is WrestleMania. I get exactly what you're saying.
That was a squash, pretty much.
It was.
That.
No, I'm saying, but on
yeah.
a TV episode where a new NXT guy or a debuting person comes out, holds their own a little bit, and then ends up putting somebody over in under 5 minutes in this case, something like that. It was 4 or 5 minutes. That's what I'm saying. This was booked pretty wrong. To have a guy that you want to maybe feature, or maybe he'd come over when you finally buy the TNA library or the promotion or they go out of business. This will be the one of the guys you want. There's a famous saying, and it's kind of done cynically and sarcastically in the locker room, but I mean this in the most respectful way, but also in the most objective way. Joe Hendry, say his name, he appears, the music, people sing along, they cheer, he's smiling, and then the bell rings. And then the bell rings. Now what are you? And that's what you're saying, right? You come out, and also this is the trick. Joe Hendry's been doing this on the indies over there in England and Europe and everywhere before he even got the TNA.
Yeah, he's 36. He's not a young man
no,
in the game.
No, he's not, but he was
yeah.
doing it with Drew back on the indies, singing the songs. He always did a parody song for who he was wrestling in the entrances. He's always done that. The problem is, here's the double-edged sword. That literally got him to the dance. But now you're on a real, in my estimation in 2025 with people's attention spans, you're on a short pitch count to really tweak. Like you said, you need to tweak sooner rather than later before the people really get tired of it. Because that's what it is. This dude can work. I've watched his stuff outside of even TNA. He can work, and he's not a small guy. He looks small next to Randy, but he's a huge guy, comparatively speaking, especially in TNA. But he needs today to figure out what to give them next so they can go earlier, like Bill Belichick and the Patriots, our American football team. Better to let go of a guy, in this case a character, too early rather than too late. If they do it too late, then it looks like, oh, you just did it because it was stale. People kind of see through that. But he has nothing. But he could be another, just like Damian Priest. Joe Hendry could be another Drew McIntyre. And dare I say it, Joe Henry's more connected in social media and all this other stuff. He might find that thing easier than a Damian Priest.
I don't think he needs to betray the previous character to make it in WWE, because obviously WWE is so interested in having Joe Hendry on. He's on Royal Rumble and WrestleMania, for goodness sake. But just you talking about, he does a different song for every person who's wrestling, etc. like that. Do you know what it reminds me of? And do you know what he could fall into the trap of being? Lanny Poffo. He had a different poem for every city. He put the effort in.
Mm-hmm.
But you know what? He didn't have that extra bit of presentation. There was something missing with Lanny Poffo that obviously Randy Savage's brother had.
Yeah.
And I so want the best for Joe Hendry is what I'm saying. But I think with some small tweaks, and I think also maybe just a mite bit more seriousness in the matches, to just make himself look more threatening. Because as you say, he's not a small guy. Randy Orton's just huge. But I think some minor changes to Joe, and he could be a real contender.
I have a one-to-one analogy. And unfortunately, it doesn't bode well for Joe Hendry if he continues.
Okay.
What's that?
No, okay. Yeah, I think it doesn't bode well for Joe Hendry.
It doesn't. This is the blueprint. We've already seen it. One word I'm going to say to you right now, and it's going to click. Elias.
Yeah. But Joe's got a natural charm to him.
Yeah, but then the bell rings. If you're still the same dude that's singing songs in the middle of the ring, or say his name, he appears, then and he's TNA champion. So does this loss really hurt whoever the TNA diehard fans are to say our world champion lost? The only thing I would do is take the belt off him right away. To have him going on a losing streak, and then that changes that character just a little bit.
He didn't just lose; he lost in 3 minutes 9 seconds. Is all I'll say.
That's a long time for me.
Hey, but also nothing about your private life now, Steve.
Give me a 3-minute squash match on WrestleMania. What are you talking about?
Oh, you were talking about wrestling. Oh, okay.
Oh, you son of a bitch!
Hey,
what are you, a pervert?
How many careers for this?
Careers for this? 1.
Yeah. Here's the
I
thing,
wouldn't
Rock.
give any actually because it did nobody any. It did nobody. I'm gonna give it 0.
Yeah. The Rock. Guess what he also did? He also played guitar, did those great segments. He was still The Rock. It's like just doing that kind of character has no bearing on
Yeah, but
how
he
you'll
was
succeed in.
he was the Rock that did it after being the Rock
Yeah.
already.
Yeah.
And he just did it because he felt like doing it because it was fun. And guess what? Even as a heel, the people loved it. So he didn't exactly do anything. He didn't do it the right way. He didn't get heat with it, you know? And
Oh no,
you can never hate The Rock. Even as a heel, people probably still loved him. So I just feel like I'm going to go back to 1 because the guys worked hard. It's physical. The fact that Randy can come back from any injury, have his 20th WrestleMania, and this solely relies on creative. Every single match, I believe, when I take Korea's away, it relies on creative or lays on creative's doorstep.